Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Breath of Life. It's another great Neville nugget. Goddard goodie for sure. This one really gets into all those dreams that we've kind of let die on the vine, if you will. All these dreams that we've sort of kind of let go, given up on, parts of our life maybe that we're like, well, I guess I just won't do it this life. I guess I can't do it, right? All those dreams that we've given up on, all those desires we have that we haven't actually brought to fruition yet or crystallized into the physical world yet. Breathing the breath of life back into your desire is what this very short chapter is in relation to. And there's one cool little part in here that Goddard, he's been kind of beating this horse through this entire book, and for some reason he seems to leave this one paragraph alone, and I feel like it needs a little bit of an extra explanation. And I think it's a great example of kind of how we manifest and how this whole process works. So again, the breath of life, chapter 20, from Your Faith is Your Fortune. Did the prophet Elijah really restore to life the dead child of the widow? This story, along with all other stories of the Bible, is a psychological drama which takes place in the consciousness of man. The widow symbolizes every man and woman in the world. The dead child represents the frustrated desires and ambitions of man, while the prophet Elijah symbolizes the God power within man, or man's awareness of being. Again, consciousness, right? It always comes down to consciousness. That is the key in this book. Now, here's the chapter, or here's the paragraph that I think he kind of just sort of leaves alone, just kind of throws it out there and doesn't quite explain. So, the story tells us that the prophet took the dead child from the widow's bosom and carried him into the upper room. As he entered this upper room, he closed the doors behind him. Placing the child upon a bed, he breathed life into him. Returning to the mother, he gave her the child and said, "Woman, thy son liveth." Couple things that jump out on me on this. One, a very neat little meditation technique that I learned eons ago pops up. I'll get to that second. But the first part is he talks about really the way our dreams come and the way we manifest them. So he took the dead child from the widow's bosom. Bosom's right where the heart is, right? So your child, your heart's desire, took the dead desire from the heart area. He then carried it to the upper room. Well, the upper room to me, consciousness is typically associated with the mind, right? That's I think, therefore I am, all those crazy concepts. Now, that's not necessarily where consciousness resides, and there's been lots of debate over the years about that. But from a simple standpoint, ultimately, a lot of us pretty much think of consciousness being in the head area. So he took the child and carried him to the upper room. So from the heart to the upper room. As he entered this upper room, he closed the door behind him, meaning he didn't let anyone see what he was doing. His manifestation was his business. He did his work in private, not telling the world about it, not telling, hey, everybody, look what I'm trying to manifest. Hey, everybody, I'm trying to bring this child back to life. Hey, everybody, look at the dream I'm making happen. No, just closed the door and made it happen. And then he placed the child upon the bed and breathed life into him. Now, to me, the bed's kind of the altar within our own minds, right? It's kind of the sacred space. It's the place where we certainly lie and rest and all that, but it's a very sacred kind of space, or it is similar to kind of like what an altar would be within our bedroom, if there is such a thing. So I'm taking a little poetic license, maybe. And then he goes back down and gives the child back to the woman after he's breathed life into it. After he's given it life again, he then gives it back to us. So it's the power of taking our heart's desire, bringing it up into our consciousness, experiencing it as though it is real, breathing life into it as though it is real, and then letting it go, handing it back. One paragraph, I think he says so much, and he just kind of goes on past it. Let's read the next paragraph. Man's desire can be symbolized as the dead child. The mere fact that he desires is positive proof that the thing desired is not yet a living reality in his world. He tries in every conceivable way to nurse this desire into reality, to make it live, but finds in the end that all attempts fail. Most men are not aware of the existence of the infinite power within themselves as the prophet. They remain indefinitely with a dead child in their arms, not realizing that the desire is the positive indication of limitless capacities for its fulfillment. Meaning, and we talked about this in a couple other chapters, the desire, acknowledging the desire component, that's that gift from God. I forget which one of the 12 disciples he was talking about, but it's realizing that the desire comes from your heart, that the desire comes from God, that that desire is an internal component of us that deserves to be brought to fruition, that deserves to come into physicality. That desire, that heart gift, that gift from God needs to be appreciated, needs to have life breathed into it, and needs to come to reality. But so many of us clutch it and don't really do anything different. We just hold the dead dream and, oh, it would be nice to have more one day. No, breathe life into it. Give it realness. Think about it. Put yourself consciously in the place of having it already. Expand your consciousness to the point where you actually have it already. Even if not for a moment, when you do that, you raise your consciousness to the level of the thing that you're trying to create. When you raise your consciousness to the level of the thing you try to create, you instantly begin attracting it to you. It instantly begins to crystallize down to you. And the longer you can hold that consciousness, that feeling, the longer you can hold the feeling that, yeah, I've got this, things are working out in my life. That's the quickness that we're looking for in manifestation. That is how we make it happen faster. We hold that feeling as long as we can. That technically is living in the end. A lot of people see it as walking around pretending they've got the job, walking around pretending they're rich, walking around pretending they've got someone's hand in their hand. No, it's not that. It's not that you're pretending is already happening. It's not living in that end. It's the energetic aspect of it. It's the consciousness of it. Living in the consciousness of having it already. It's an issue of attracting someone to you, then I am all the wonderful traits that this person wants to see. I am a perfect match for them. I am a wonderful match for them. I am all the things that they would want and be attracted to. When I realize I'm all that and then some, my consciousness raises to this level. I become very attractive to them. When I hold the consciousness of having the job, I see myself doing the job, the excitement of it, the challenge of it, the parts of the job that I really enjoy. And I keep imagining that, and I see it, and I feel it, and I hold that like that job is mine, I know it for sure, then that's what I'm going to experience. And that's living in the end. That's keeping that consciousness in that place. Let man once again recognize that his consciousness is a prophet who breathes life into all that he is conscious of being. And he will close the door of his senses against his problems and fix his attention solely on that which he desires, knowing that by doing so, his desires are certain to be realized. He will discover recognition to be the breath of life, for he will perceive, as he consciously claims himself to be now expressing or possessing all he desires to be or have, that he will be breathing the breath of life into his desires. The quality claimed for the desire, in a way unknown to him, right? Sort of, doesn't really know. He will begin to move and become a living reality in his world. So once he claims this quality about himself, once he shifts his consciousness to the point of being that which he desires to be, he will begin to move and become a living reality in his world. Yes, the prophet Elijah lives forever as man's limitless consciousness of being, the widow as his limited consciousness of being, and the child that which he desires to be. So kind of a couple cool little metaphors that come around on this. But this is a powerful chapter on how so many of us take the desires that we have, take the desires that we've had in the past, things we wanted to do maybe when we were younger. Maybe we wanted to learn how to play piano and we've given up on that dream. Maybe there's something very specific person that we're trying to get, but we're kind of giving up on it because things aren't working quite right. Get your consciousness to the place. So grab this desire that you have in your heart. Understand it's a wonderful gift from God. Understand that this desire is there for a reason. Understand that you should be allowed to have your desires, and it's right for you, that you're worthy of this desire. That this desire is something you deserve, It's something you should have, and it's something that's going to happen. Take that desire, breathe life into it. Experience it as though it is happening right now. Consciously become it. What that means is imagine as though you've got it. Imagine it to the point where it's like at that moment, it's as real can be. When you do that, you raise your consciousness to match it. That's the process of imagining having it and feeling it. That is what you're doing. The feeling it part is what raises your consciousness. That is your consciousness. Once you've got that feeling component, understand that it's now yours. You've now brought it back to life. Leave the doubts aside. Tell no man you did it in a door. Close the door behind you. You didn't let anybody see you do it. Don't tell anybody about this dream this time, right? Because last time you probably did. This time, close the door. Feel it. Experience it. Open the door back up. Give that back to your heart, back to your consciousness, back to the widow. Give your dream back to them and let it unfold. Tell no soul, doubt none. Understand this is yours to have. Anytime there's any concerns or questions or problems, go back to feeling it as though you have it right now. That's how you live in the end. Get your consciousness back to, I got this. I have this now. And then let it go again. And if a little bit later you feel like, I'm not feeling quite as groovy, feel like you're slipping the old pair of shoes back on, no, grab those new shoes, put them back on, get yourself back to that consciousness again. And what you'll find is the more you spend time there, the more natural it feels. And the more natural it feels, the easier it is to manifest. These are the keys. These are the tricks. Breathe life back into your dreams. Let your dreams come to life. Experience them. Live them. Be them. This is your life to live. This is your painting to paint. This is your movie to produce, act, and star in. Own it. Be it. This is yours to have. Dan RadioStyle.